Hello there, Golden Lifers. Welcome back to our little corner of the internet, a place where we celebrate this incredible chapter of life, a time for wisdom, for joy, and for truly embracing our well-being. Now, as we navigate these golden years, our bodies go through some fascinating changes, don't they? And sometimes, the things we've always done, perhaps without a second thought, might actually be impacting our health in ways we hadn't quite realized. Think about it for a moment. We're often so focused on the big health topics, heart health, bone density, maybe even keeping our minds sharp, that some of the more intimate aspects of our lives can get a little overlooked. And that's perfectly understandable. But what if I told you there are some subtle habits, very personal habits, that, over time, could be quietly affecting two really important areas of our lives, our circulation and our intimacy? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Circulation? Intimacy? What's the connection there? Well, that's exactly what we're going to gently explore together today, because understanding this connection and making a few thoughtful adjustments could make a real difference in how vibrant and connected you feel in your life after 60. We're not here to judge or to make anyone uncomfortable. Instead, we're going to have an open, honest, and empowering conversation, guided by the insights of urologists who understand the nuances of our bodies as we age. They've seen patterns. They've observed the subtle ways our habits can impact our physical and emotional well-being. So, what are these seemingly innocuous habits? Well, let's dive right into the first one, something that might surprise you because it's often talked about in a completely different light. Let's talk about frequency. Now, there's no magic number, no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to personal habits like masturbation. What's normal can vary greatly from person to person, and that's perfectly okay. However, as we age, our body's natural rhythms and hormonal balances can shift, and what might have been perfectly fine in our younger years could, over time, potentially lead to some subtle imbalances if it becomes, shall we say, excessively frequent for our individual system now. Think of it like this. Our bodies are incredibly efficient machines, but they have their limits. Everything requires energy, resources, and while these personal activities are natural and healthy in many ways, doing anything to an extreme can sometimes put a strain on our systems. Now, how might this relate to circulation? Well, our circulatory system is the incredible network that delivers vital oxygen and nutrients throughout our bodies. It plays a crucial role in everything from our energy levels to our ability to heal. And yes, to our sexual function as well. Overdoing anything that puts a consistent demand on our system could, over the long term, subtly impact the efficiency of this delicate network. It's not about causing a sudden blockage, but more about a gradual wearing down, or a slight diversion of resources that might be needed elsewhere. And when it comes to intimacy, connection might be a little more nuanced. Sometimes, excessive frequency can lead to a feeling of, well, almost a detachment. It can become more of a solitary act, potentially impacting our desire for deeper, more connected, intimate experiences with a partner. It's not about saying one is good and the other is bad, but about finding a healthy balance that nourishes both our individual well-being and our relational connections. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine you love a particular food. Eating it occasionally brings you pleasure. But if you were to eat it several times a day, every single day, you might eventually find that you don't enjoy it as much anymore. And it might even start to have some negative effects on your overall diet and health. It's about moderation and being attuned to what our bodies truly need and how they are responding. Now, this isn't about setting strict rules or making anyone feel guilty. It's about encouraging a mindful awareness of our bodies and our habits as we age. It's about asking ourselves, am I engaging in this in a way that truly feels good and healthy for me now, in this stage of my life. The second subtle mistake that urologists sometimes observe relates to the intensity and the focus during these personal moments. Now, pleasure is a wonderful thing, and it's a natural part of life. However, if the focus consistently becomes solely on the physical sensation, and perhaps involves a high degree of intensity or even a sense of urgency, it might inadvertently be creating a subtle disconnect from the more emotional and relational aspects of intimacy. Think about it in the context of a shared intimate experience with a partner that involves not just physical sensations, but also emotional connection, communication, shared vulnerability, and a sense of closeness. If our solitary experiences become very narrowly focused on a specific type of stimulation, it could, over time, subtly recalibrate our bodies and minds in a way that makes those more nuanced and emotionally rich shared experiences feel less satisfying or even less appealing. This isn't to say that physical pleasure isn't important. It absolutely is. But as we mature, many of us find that the emotional and relational intimacy becomes increasingly significant. It's about the whole tapestry of connection, not just a single thread. Now, how might this relate to circulation? Well, intense physical activity, even in a private setting, does engage our cardiovascular system. An occasional surge is perfectly normal and even healthy. But if the intensity is consistently very high, and perhaps accompanied by a degree of tension or strain, it could potentially have subtle effects on our blood pressure and the overall efficiency of our circulation over time. Again, it's not about a dramatic impact, but more about the cumulative effect of repeated intense physical responses. Consider this. When we engage in activities with a partner, there's often a buildup of intimacy, a gradual increase in arousal, and a shared experience that can be quite different from a more intensely focused solitary experience. The pace, the emotional connection, the physical closeness all contribute to a different kind of physiological response. So, the key here isn't to avoid pleasure, but to be mindful of the nature of our personal habits. Are they primarily focused on intense physical release? Or do they also incorporate elements of relaxation, self-care, and a gentle connection with our own bodies? This awareness can be incredibly helpful in maintaining a healthy balance that supports both our physical and emotional well-being as we continue to enjoy our golden life. We've touched upon frequency and intensity, two aspects that might seem surprising when we talk about circulation and intimacy. But as we continue our conversation, we'll delve into a couple more subtle habits that urologists have noted can have a quiet impact as we age. Remember, this is all about empowering ourselves with knowledge and making gentle adjustments that can lead to a more vibrant and connected life. Stay with me, because there's more valuable insight to come. Now, let's delve into our third subtle habit. And this one might be a little less about the physical act itself and more about the mindset and environment surrounding it. Urologists sometimes observe that a sense of shame, guilt, or secrecy associated with personal intimacy can actually negatively impact our circulation and our ability to connect intimately with others. Think about it. Our minds and bodies are incredibly interconnected. When we experience negative emotions like shame or guilt, it triggers a stress response in our bodies. This can lead to the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which, over time, can have a constricting effect on our blood vessels, potentially impacting our circulation. It's like our body is tensing up, creating internal resistance. Furthermore, if we feel a sense of secrecy or shame around a natural and healthy part of being human, it can create a barrier. to open communication and vulnerability in our relationships. Intimacy, in its truest sense, thrives on honesty, trust, and a feeling of being accepted and understood. If we carry around these negative feelings about our bodies and desires, it can be difficult to fully open up and connect with a partner on a deeper level. Consider this. Imagine trying to have a relaxed and enjoyable conversation with someone while constantly feeling like you need to hide a part of yourself. That underlying tension would undoubtedly affect the flow of the conversation and the depth of your connection. Similarly, carrying shame around our intimacy can create a subtle barrier to truly relaxed and fulfilling shared experiences. We've touched upon frequency and intensity, two aspects that might seem surprising when we talk about circulation and intimacy. But as we continue our conversation, we'll delve into a couple more subtle habits that urologists have noted can have a quiet impact as we age. Remember, this is all about empowering ourselves with knowledge and making gentle adjustments that can lead to a more vibrant and connected life. Stay with me, because there's more valuable insight to come. All right, let's move on to part 2 of our conversation, Golden Lifers. I hope those first 2 points have given you some food for thought. Remember, we're exploring these topics with kindness and a genuine desire to support your well-being. Now, let's delve into our third subtle habit. And this one might be a little less about the physical act itself and more about the mindset and environment surrounding it. Urologists sometimes observe that a sense of shame, guilt, or secrecy associated with personal intimacy can actually negatively impact our circulation and our ability to connect intimately with others. Think about it. Our minds and bodies are incredibly interconnected. When we experience negative emotions like shame or guilt, it triggers a stress response in our bodies. This can lead to the release of hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which, over time, can have a constricting effect on our blood vessels, potentially impacting our circulation. It's like our body is tensing up, creating internal resistance. Furthermore, if we feel a sense of secrecy or shame around a natural and healthy part of being human, it can create a barrier to open communication and vulnerability in our relationships. Intimacy, in its truest sense, thrives on honesty, trust, and a feeling of being accepted and understood. If we carry around these negative feelings about our bodies and desires, it can be difficult to fully open up and connect with a partner on a deeper level. Consider this. Imagine trying to have a relaxed and enjoyable conversation with someone while constantly feeling like you need to hide a part of yourself. That underlying tension would undoubtedly affect the flow of the conversation and the depth of your connection. Similarly, carrying shame around our intimacy can create a subtle barrier to truly relaxed and fulfilling shared experiences. Now, where might these feelings come from? Well, societal messages, past experiences, or even just outdated beliefs can sometimes contribute to these negative associations. It's important to remember that as mature adults, we have the wisdom and the right to redefine our perspectives on these matters. Our bodies are our own, and experiencing pleasure and intimacy is a natural and healthy part of life at any age. Let's think about the impact on circulation a little more. Chronic stress, fueled by these negative emotions, is a well-known contributor to various health issues, including high blood pressure and poor circulation. By releasing any unnecessary shame or guilt, we can help our bodies relax, allowing our blood to flow more freely and efficiently. This, in turn, supports overall vitality and well-being, including our sexual health. So, the takeaway here isn't about the physical act itself, but about the emotional baggage we might be carrying around it. By fostering a sense of self-acceptance and by challenging any negative beliefs we might hold, we can actually improve both our physical health and our capacity for deeper intimacy. It's about permitting ourselves to enjoy this aspect of life without shame or secrecy. This leads us to our fourth and final subtle habit that urologists sometimes highlight: a lack of variety and exploration. Now, this might sound a little unexpected, but think about it in the context of keeping things vibrant and healthy in all areas of our lives. Just like sticking to the same limited diet might deprive our bodies of essential nutrients, consistently engaging in the same routine without any exploration or variation might subtly impact both our physical responses and our overall interest in intimacy, both solitary and shared. From a circulatory perspective, our bodies thrive on a range of stimuli. Different types of physical activity engage different muscle groups and promote healthy blood flow in various ways. Similarly, when it comes to personal intimacy, exploring different sensations and techniques can help to maintain sensitivity and responsiveness over time. If we always do the same thing in the same way, our bodies might become less responsive to those specific stimuli. And when it comes to intimacy with a partner, a lack of variety and exploration can sometimes lead to a feeling of routine or even boredom. Trying new things together, communicating openly about desires, and being willing to step outside of our comfort zones can inject excitement and deepen the connection. It keeps things interesting and allows us to discover new aspects of our own and our partner's desires. Consider this. Think about a hobby you enjoy. If you did the same thing, in the same way, every single time, wouldn't it eventually lose some of its appeal? Introducing new techniques, trying different approaches, or even just exploring different environments can reignite your passion and keep things engaging. The same principle can apply to our intimate lives. Now, this isn't about feeling pressured to constantly reinvent the wheel. It's more about maintaining a sense of curiosity and openness. It could be as simple as exploring different types of touch, trying new positions, or even just incorporating different sensory elements. For solitary exploration, it might involve varying the pace, the pressure, or the focus of stimulation. The key is to avoid getting stuck in a rut. Our bodies and our desires can evolve over time, and staying open to new possibilities can help us maintain a healthy and fulfilling intimate life, which in turn supports our overall well-being, including healthy circulation. When we are engaged and enjoying this aspect of our lives, it can have a positive impact on our mood, our stress levels, and even our cardiovascular health. So, there you have it. Golden lifers for perhaps unexpected habits that urologists sometimes see, subtly influencing circulation and intimacy. After 60, excessive frequency, a sole focus on intense physical sensation, carrying shame or secrecy, and a lack of variety and exploration. Remember, this isn't about judgment or strict rules. It's about empowering ourselves with awareness and making thoughtful choices that support our overall health and happiness in these wonderful years. By being mindful of these subtle influences, we can take proactive steps towards maintaining both a healthy circulatory system and a vibrant, fulfilling intimate life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have any of these points resonated with you? What are your thoughts or experiences? Share them in the comments below. Let's create a supportive and open community here. And if you found this information helpful and you'd like to continue exploring ways to make the most of your golden life, please do give this video a thumbs up. It helps others find our community. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the Golden Life channel so you don't miss out on future conversations like this. We're all in this together, learning and growing every step of the way. All right, Golden Lifers. Welcome back for the final part of our insightful discussion. I truly appreciate you spending this time with me as we explore these important aspects of our well-being in our golden years. We've journeyed through some perhaps unexpected territories, and now it's time to bring it all together and leave you with some empowering thoughts. So, we've talked about the potential impact of frequency, intensity, the emotional baggage of shame or secrecy, and the benefits of variety on both our circulation and our intimate connections as we navigate life after 60. Now, it's crucial to remember that these are subtle influences, and what resonates with one person might be entirely different for another. Our bodies are unique, our experiences are diverse, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer here. The real power lies in self-awareness. It's about tuning into your own body, paying attention to how you feel, both physically and emotionally, and being honest with yourself about your habits and their potential impact. Are you noticing any subtle changes in your energy levels? How's your overall sense of well-being? How do you feel about your intimate life, both with yourself and with a partner, if you have one? These are important questions to ponder, not with judgment, but with gentle curiosity. Think of it as a personal check-in, an opportunity to understand yourself a little better in this stage of your life. And remember, making adjustments doesn't have to be drastic. Small, mindful changes can often lead to significant improvements over time. If you've recognized a tendency towards excessive frequency, perhaps explore other ways to relax and unwind. If the focus has been solely on intense physical release, maybe incorporate elements of mindfulness and gentle self-care. If you've been carrying around any lingering feelings of shame or secrecy, consider exploring those feelings and challenging any negative beliefs. And if things have felt a bit routine, perhaps open the door to some gentle exploration and communication. The goal isn't to achieve some arbitrary ideal, but to find a way of living that feels healthy, balanced, and fulfilling for you. It's about nurturing both your physical vitality and your capacity for deep and meaningful connections. Think about the incredible journey you've already had. You've accumulated so much wisdom, so many experiences. These golden years are a time to truly savor life, to prioritize your well-being, and to embrace all aspects of what makes you feel alive and connected. Now, I want to leave you with a few empowering thoughts. Firstly, you are in control of your well-being. You have the ability to make choices that support your health and happiness. This knowledge is power. Secondly, open communication is key, both with yourself and with a partner. Don't be afraid to explore your feelings, your desires, and any concerns you might have. Talking about these things, even if it feels a little vulnerable at first, can be incredibly liberating and can deepen your connections with others. Thirdly, be kind to yourself. There's no room for guilt or self-criticism in this journey. We're all learning and evolving. Approach these considerations with a spirit of self-compassion and a genuine desire to nurture yourself. And finally, remember that you are not alone. Many people experience similar changes and considerations as they age. By being open and sharing our experiences, we can create a supportive community where we all feel understood and empowered. So, Golden Lifers, I hope this conversation has been helpful and has perhaps offered a new perspective on some very personal aspects of our lives. Remember, the goal is always to live a life that feels rich, vibrant, and deeply connected. By being mindful of these subtle influences, we can take proactive steps towards achieving just that. Now, before we wrap up, I have a small request. If you found this video insightful and you think it might benefit others in our Golden Life community, please do share it. Let's spread this message of awareness and empowerment. And of course, if you enjoyed our conversation today and you'd like to stay connected for more discussions on how to make the most of these incredible years, please do hit that subscribe button. We love having you as part of our Golden Life family. And don't forget to tap that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Finally, I always love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Please do share your comments below. Let's continue this conversation and learn from each other. Thank you so much for spending this time.